At first, there is only mist, a pale curtain rising through trees. Somewhere in the canopy, a voice calls, long, mournful, melodic. The Indri. Its echo rolls through the forest like a memory awakening. Welcome to Madagascar. This is the island before sound, green, breathing, and infinitely still. Here on the east coast, dawn comes slowly. Light creeps over palms. Riverbanks blink open. And in the villages along the Pangalenus Canal, life begins to stir. A child splashes in the water. A fisherman pushes his canoe into fog. Smoke rises from cooking fires. It smells of charcoal, vanilla, and thyme. You drift down the canal, carved between lake and ocean. Water hyacinths float beside you. Dragonflies flicker, and all around the forest leans in, watching. In the shadows, lemurs climb quietly. Some leap, some wait. All are watching too. There are places where the world has learned not to rush. This is one of them. The jungle here is dense, warm, and soft. Everything grows in layers. Vines on trees, moss on bark, orchids blooming where no one sees. Rain falls in whispers. Sunlight arrives in beams. The locals call it the green silence. Not for its quiet, but for its depth. It's not empty here. It's full of breath, of growth, of things that move slowly and things that do not move at all. A butterfly lands on your knee. It sits like the moment does, still, uncertain, beautiful. And for a time, you forget where you came from. Because here, beginnings are not loud. They are soft, like fog lifting, like footsteps in wet leaves, like the start of something ancient. You step off the path and into the green. Instantly, the forest swallows sound. This is Andasiba, where time grows on trees. Tall trunks rise like pillars, wrapped in moss and memory. Sunlight filters down in slivers, catching dust like stars. The air is damp, fragrant, alive. You smell wet bark, sweet orchids, and the faint mineral scent of rain about to fall. Leaves curl and uncurl in slow breath. Every surface glistens. Then, a flicker in the undergrowth. A pair of eyes, a sudden leap. A sifaka, white-furred, graceful, sails between branches like a ghost dancing on air. It lands, tilts its head, then disappears into shadow. You wait, and slowly, the forest opens again. Here, lemurs are not rare. They are citizens. They roam in clans. They speak in clicks, growls, and songs older than language. You walk further. In Ranamafana, the ground softens into sponge. Ferns grow taller than you. Streams twist like veins through the underbrush. Tiny frogs call from the leaf litter, bright as jewels, invisible as wind. You pause at the edge of a clearing not made but remembered. There are no signs, just space. This is where the Indri sings. This is where the sound begins. And in the quiet after, you notice things you'd forgotten to feel. The weight of your breath, the pace of your steps, the shape of your listening. Because here, the forest teaches you how to be still, how to wait, how to know the world not by seeing, but by being seen. You close your eyes, and in the hush beneath the canopy, you feel the oldest kind of connection, not to a place, but to presence itself. The east vanishes behind you, its mists, its moisture, its murmurs, and the land begins to crack. You're in the west now, where rivers turn to dust, and the trees grow low, twisted, defiant. The road is red. The air smells of earth and sun. Then you see it, a rising chaos of limestone, sharpened by wind and time. The Tsinji de Bemaraha, not mountains, not cliffs, something older, something stranger. They call it a forest of stone. Spikes rise in impossible angles, passages narrow into crevices, bridges span chasms carved by forgotten rain. You climb carefully, hands on rock, feet in silence. Below, the canyons breathe in shade. Above, a hawk circles. Somewhere between you exist, a guest among teeth of time. There is no softness here, only structure, only permanence. And yet, life thrives. A leaf-tailed gecko clings to gray stone, its body indistinguishable from shadow. In a hollow, a baobab grows, roots wrapped around rock like prayer. Further west, the stone gives way to savanna. Wide fields under an endless sky. Zebu herds move slowly, their horns like half-moons in the dust. You pass a village, mud walls, woven roofs, a child waving from shade. The pace is slow but steady. In the distance, the Manambolo River snakes between cliffs. Canoes glide silently past caves, some of them tombs. The ancestors rest there, bones wrapped in cloth, tucked behind veils of limestone. You don't speak. The place does. And in its dry, wind-sculpted language, it tells you this: that beauty is not always lush. Sometimes it is rough, it is bare, it endures. The heat softens, the wind returns, and the land stretches into gold. You are near Morondava now, where time walks slower and shadows grow longer. Across the plain, silhouettes rise, thick, ancient, defiant. The Baobabs. Some are over 1,000 years old, their trunks swollen like memory, their branches reaching not down, but up, like roots searching the sky. They call them the trees of life. And here, along the avenue of the Baobabs, they line the road like sentinels of silence. You walk the path as the sun begins to sink. The dust glows red, the sky turns amber, and every step feels like a pilgrimage. Children run between the trees, their laughter trailing in the breeze. Zebu carts creak past, driven by hands that have known this rhythm for generations. No one rushes, no one needs to. You stop. A single baobab stands apart, larger than the rest, older too. Its bark is scarred, its presence immense. You rest your hand on its surface, warm, rough, alive. Some say these trees store water. Others say they store stories. You believe both. As night begins to lean in, the light becomes liquid. It spills across the plain. It soaks the trees. It settles into silence. And in that stillness, you understand something without words. That this island is not in a hurry to show you its wonders. It waits. It reveals. It roots. And just like the Baobabs, you, too, begin to feel a little more grounded. Southward, the land begins to burn, not with fire, but with color. Ochre, gold, ash, rust. The palette of time. You arrive in Isolo National Park, a place carved not by hands, but by sun and silence. Canyons open like old books. Walls rise in layered stone, etched by wind, worn by rain. You walk between cliffs that glow with heat. The ground crunches beneath your boots. It is dry. It is sacred. Every turn reveals a story in texture, striations, fractures, crumbles, the language of geology. And then, without warning, green. A hidden oasis, tucked between stone, a pool of clear water shimmers like forgotten truth. Palm trees bend over it, grasses grow soft again. A pair of dragonflies spiral above the surface. You kneel, touch the water. It is cool. It is real. In this harshest of landscapes, life still finds a way to whisper. Further in, you reach a natural stone arch. It frames the sky. It frames you. You pass through, and something shifts. You don't know what, but the world feels different on the other side. As shadows stretch, the rock begins to hum, a low, warm resonance in your bones. You sit beneath the arch. You let the silence settle. You let the stillness speak. And for a moment, you realize this place is not empty. It is full of all the things the world forgets to say. The stone fades, the dust gives way to sand, and the road finds the sea. You are now in southern Madagascar, where the land sighs into water. Villages appear like mirages, thatched roofs, wooden boats, palm-fringed shade. The pace is slower here, but the stories are older. At dawn, fishermen push pirogues into the surf. Their paddles dip in rhythm. Their nets curl like language. The sea is not loud. It breathes. It waits. You walk along the beach. Black volcanic stones break the shoreline. Crabs scatter sideways. The wind smells of salt and smoke. Further inland, the mangroves take over, a tangle of roots above water, where silence becomes geometry. Birds rest in branches. Shells crack underfoot. You feel watched, not with fear, but with ancient eyes. In the afternoons, the light turns honey soft. Children play in tide pools. A woman walks by with a basket of lychees. The sky bends gently over everything. You reach a cove with no name. No map marks it. No sign leads to it. Just a small arc of sand and the sea, endlessly folding. You sit, and the ocean listens, not to your words, but to your presence. Because here, you do not need to say anything. Here, your silence belongs. Northwest, the land fragments into bays, into beaches, into islands that seem to float between time and tide. You arrive on Nosy Bay, where the mornings begin with scent. Ylang-ylang, vanilla, pepper. The air is rich, sweet, and thick with memory. Markets hum in low voices. Fruits spill in color, jackfruit, mango, cloves. A woman hands you a slice of pineapple. It tastes like sun. But the island is more than scent. It is stillness. You walk a forest trail into Lokobi Reserve. The path narrows. Green wraps around you, and the only sound is the hush of leaves. You see a black lemur watching, not afraid, just aware. At the coast, you find a boat, wooden, unpainted, waiting. You sail. The sea here is clear as glass. Coral gardens bloom beneath you. Purple, teal, bone white. Fish flicker like thoughts. You pass volcanic islets, their slopes green with jungle, their feet licked by foam. One has a single tree. One is nothing but stone. No signs, no sounds, only rhythm. And as the sun leans westward, you reach a beach with no footprints, just driftwood, just sky. You step ashore and feel something you hadn't noticed missing. Quiet, not silence, but the kind of quiet that makes everything else make sense. The sea fades behind you. The air cools, and the land begins to climb. You enter the central highlands, where red clay clings to your boots, and green steps rise in rhythm. Rice terraces carved like song into the hills. Villages rest among eucalyptus trees. Roofs of tin and tile. Walls of baked earth. Children wave from doorways. Smoke curls from kitchen fires. The scent is different here. Earthy, sharp, alive. It smells like history. You arrive in Antananarivo, a city of layers, of markets and stairways, of shadows and music, of motion, yes, but also of memory. You climb the upper town, past balconies, past murals, past stories. A church bell rings. Somewhere, a rooster answers. From the top, you see everything. The lake, the sprawl, the breadth of the hills beyond. And in the hush between the sounds, you hear what's been waiting. Not an ending, not even a farewell. Just this, a whisper from the land that held you, through mist, through stone, through salt, through scent. A reminder that beauty is not always loud, that presence needs no permission, that sometimes the most powerful journeys are the quiet ones. You exhale, and Madagascar exhales with you.